We're shooting. We get started. Okay.
Boom.
Yes. So continuing our series with local authors. Today we have Rosslyn Chay.
Yes.
Yes. And this is her book. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for participating. We did where we met was through the Kensington Day of the Book Festival.
Yes.
We did the spotlight ahead of the event, right? We unfortunately did not get to shoot you at the event, but you agreed to do an interview, so thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And I got a copy of your book, and honestly, I loved it. I fell in love with poetry probably 3-4 years ago. I was introduced to it through a friend, and specifically, it was like Indian and Arabic origin poetry. Especially couplets, and I just loved it. And I got that feeling of like depth and like warmth and like honesty and caring that a lot of poetry just falls flat for me. But I was reading your work and I loved it. Even your introduction, there's like a sense of like care, and you're thinking about the reader. So, yes, can you please begin with probably your journey before the poetry?
Before the poetry.
Yeah.
I didn't used to write. Writing wasn't an activity.
Mm-hmm.
I write functional emails at work.
Functional email.
Compositions as a school kid.
Yeah.
That's about it. But it came 2018.
Okay.
I was actually in San Francisco to attend a 2-day workshop on what we call the inner critic. And something was unlocked from there. The story that I tell people is that after the class, I had 2 more days in SF, and I was walking down the pier, I was crying, and then I would stop, and then I would type on my phone. When I'm back at my friend's place, I would cry, and I would write. It was like words of grief at first that just kept pouring out. Like
So you're
ocean.
writing words of grief.
Yeah, so it was very much cathartic kind of writing first.
Right.
And then from there on, like over the year, every day I just sat down to write, to see what wants to be expressed, what wants to come through. And yeah, till today, I have also explored like other forms of writing, and it's like writing didn't leave me since it found me back then. So I would say it's been a very fortunate journey I have with poetry.
The question is, what was wrong with that workshop? How bad was that workshop that caused you to feel that way? You know, like what was unlocked, like you said?
My heart, I would say. It was like a portal to a part of me that I never knew existed. Yeah, so it's like, wow.
Was it anything
what
specific?
Is this voice?
Was it a specific moment or thing that happened? Or is it just a moment that just a feeling?
It was probably like a build-up of like my entire journey before that. I left my corporate job from a burnout and also a value misalignment. So I was already open and searching. I was wondering who I was, who I could be, how did I came to be. So many of these questions were already percolating in my soul.
Right.
So it was meeting the right moment, right place, right teacher, right setting, right questions asked. So felt like a moment of culmination that led to that portal being unlocked. And
Fascinating. Very interesting. Well, I think that with poetry, because I had a few friends that would ask me like, well, what clicked for you? Like, why did you fall in love with poetry? Why did it become so meaningful for you? And I think it's because of you have to go through something. You have to go through something. There's some kind of feeling that has to come there. whether it's going to be death or heartbreak or, you know, love or something courageous, well, that's when someone else's words start to connect with you because you understand where that poet is coming from,
Right.
you know? So like if you truly haven't been in love or don't know the feeling of love, right? Then you wouldn't connect with the heartbreak of a poet about love, right? I read this poem recently where the poet goes, he says, I can't have you because I couldn't have you, right? But besides that, anything in this world is possible. And I just love the way it was written. You know, like he's putting this like positive spin on like, you know, you can achieve anything you want in this world, right? But I know I can't have you, you know? But like if you have felt that feeling of being in love with someone you can't have or you can't be with, then maybe you would relate to that, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's across, you know, categories of poetry, right? If you really haven't experienced death when it comes to someone that you because maybe growing up you achieved, you know, you would meet funeral after funeral, but it wouldn't hit home because of, well, you don't know the individual. You don't truly know them or care for them, right? But when it comes to, let's say, a parent or a close friend passing away, death has a complete different feeling for you. So when you come across poetry where you feel the sadness of this poet, you would relate to that. So I think there's a requirement of life experience to truly connect with poetry, in my understanding. But I felt that, especially from the get-go, you know, from the beginning of the book. There was a sense of empathy and care, and courage that was there, because it takes a lot of courage to put your own feelings on display to the public, right? For someone else to pick up the work and to read it, and to judge you, right? Fairly to judge you, but in a positive way. Clearly, is what they would take from this. But yeah, so walk me through the next steps after you were noting down those feelings.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing with me your take on poetry as well. I could really feel that, like, we would have to, like, what's coming up is like the two words overcome and undergo. There's something about undergoing that the soul actually, it's like a weathered tree, processing and experiencing, feeling the wounds, healing them, and then bringing them out to the light.
Yeah.
And when I was writing my poems in the earlier part, I didn't have planned to publish or anything. It wasn't really for like anyone but myself. It was part of like me coming to learn myself, see myself through poetry. Because I would say I was disconnected with my heart. So when my heart poured out its words, I get to know my heart, and then the process went on, and it started to bring me closer and closer, more intimate with myself.
Yeah.
And it was when I think that was like a year plus into it. And one day because they were handwritten, so I put them into a computer so I could print them out just to keep for myself. And I realized, it's almost like a book.
It's like a book.
And, and it has served me well. You know, I wanted to make one for myself.
Yeah.
And then the thought came that maybe it could be, in some ways, like, my hope is that it could serve others too. And I started putting the manuscript together. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to, you use the word burnout early on, right? And I think many people experience a burnout when it comes to, living the retail world, or living in the sales world or the corporate world, and you experience this burnout of, who am I serving? You know, like, I'm serving this corporation and this company, and God knows what this corporation's actually doing, or this department, or whatever, this organization of people are doing.
Yeah.
And then you're just this cog in a system, right? And it's funny. I remember like hearing about like Google and Apple really early on. Like I'll say the high school career, we learn about like they have yoga classes and jiu-jitsu classes, and they have all these nice things in the system, and all that has ridden away, by the way. Like they used to promote, like, look at this free, carefree kind of creative, inviting society we have within our organization, and that has all gone away at Google and Apple. Like, it's all been deeply corporatized, where shareholders, even though they're making deep profits, go, I don't think we should afford this kids care. Like, I don't think we should be giving more more pay into the employees, or when it comes to having them feel that they're contributing to society. But yeah, so that burnout. So I think people who are going through burnout or experiencing it would relate to those words. Would relate to the feeling of it, especially in this too as well. But yeah, I mean, this is a lot of poetry, a lot of work to experience before even putting into a book. Yeah, it's a lot different feelings, and I love how it's like separated by chapters and by sections.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll walk me through the sections, like the thought process of the sections.
So when I started to put my manuscript together, I was like wondering, what are the themes? Like looking back at my year, what did I actually undergo?
Mm-hmm.
And I started seeing, okay, like to come to know who I really am, it's also to really feel like sometimes we may experience things, but if let's say we block it, it doesn't come through. It's like it's not being, the term we use in my work, it doesn't get digested and metabolized. So it becomes like something that just sticks on you and you walk about with it. So that's why I put them in like what I call chapters or sections, 5 of them, like relieving pain, releasing suffering.
Yeah.
Like there are certain suffering that we actually unconsciously put on more on ourselves when, the more resistance we have against something, it actually creates some form of suffering. And then through that, it's like there is facing death. In a sense of whether it's a loved one or even parts of us, like there is a death, there is a shedding each moment or day when we are actually aware and we let go of that.
Yeah.
And there is after facing death, okay, what is the new thing that has emerged? You will start to be ready to take on the new breath to confront facing life. And then when you face life, you find that, okay, maybe I can step on even more, living. How do I live my life? And then last one, returning home. Coming to, like, I believe that there is a core or center, what we call true self. Where is the place in us that we feel at home? That we know that, this is me. I am this. Not so much by name, like I am Rosslyn or I am a designer writer, but this that I recognize to be me. This is home. That's how the chapters that you quite came about.
Yeah, those were my questions actually. My questions were essentially on like suffering, suffering, healing, becoming, living. Like, tell me about that, right? Because I think we all suffer some kind of, or suffer some kind of way, for sure. We are all like characters in this video game of life and experiencing their own situations at hand. But suffering, like maybe taking the time to suffer, right? Because I think that might be a stage in life or a step in life that might be a requirement, is to actually sit with the suffering and kind of understand it, rather than nowadays hide it away, right? Or medicate it. or hide within someone else, you know. I don't know if you've ever met individuals where they don't want to sit by themselves. They don't want to be by themselves. They want to sit with others. Because if they are by themselves, they might need to sit in the suffering of that feeling. But I think for some people, it might be, needed to understand. Because I think that also allows us to care for others. Because I bet you're more caring as an individual after this book and after this experience, because you are aware of your own feelings, but then you can also understand someone else's feelings way more so after the point of suffering.
It's interesting that you reflect that. I may not have thought of that myself, but it's true when we have undergone something. It's a bit like, if you go gym training, you're used to carrying the weights, and now you can carry. And if, let's say, somebody else is trying to do that muscle training, you also know what goes on because you've went through it. So it's similar. It's like if I take my being with suffering, like there is the heart, that is a muscle. That empathy and compassion is also like a muscle that we build to increasingly be with more discomfort, higher intensity of charge, and it's both understanding and really being able to be with. I wouldn't use the word, I'll be careful with using the word tolerate. Sometimes when we tolerate, we could be like just, suppressing or like really holding it in. But being with, it's like allowing ourselves to actually be open and be touched by it. That's almost, and letting your heart even tremble if, let's say, that's what it's feeling from the other person or feeling together with the other person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's coming up for me.
Absolutely. So when it came to healing, did you feel that these words here, this experience of writing this book was part of the healing, or did you find a healing in other manners?
It was certainly very healing for myself. And because part of healing is also to make whole, to integrate. And sometimes certain parts of us or historical moments that got frozen in time, they may not speak with the same language or voice. Sometimes you doodle, sometimes you draw, sometimes it speaks through poetry. And when the witness, or when something is out and we get to see it, it's like, bring it back in again. So it's like expressing and receiving one's self again, and through that meeting, coming together and becoming whole again. To me, that's like how the healing process starts to happen and be on its journey.
So I'm not even close to talented enough to write poetry, okay? But I found such healing in reading it. Because I felt like, especially different authors or, different poets I would kind of reflect on, I just felt like I was sitting with a friend, and a friend was just being so genuinely honest. And when people are just genuinely honest with you, there's a sense of comfort that just comes with it. Especially even if they're saying, I hurt here or I feel this way. But I had that feeling listening to some of these poets, and it was just a breath of fresh air. And like a poet talking about like heartbreak, and I was like, I experienced that, I felt that, and I know exactly what he's talking about, and that would just cripple me, like I would just I would feel that pain, and I would sit within that, that feeling of suffering, right? But yeah, I just felt like I was getting so much healing done from these poets that would talk about love and heartbreak and courage and honor and strength, right? And I found it so motivational, I remember reading this one poet where he was talking about depression, right? And he was saying, and it changed my whole mindset, where he goes, I want your depression, right? And I was just like, because nowadays we think about depression as such an absolute negative and terrible thing, right? Like, oh, you're clinically depressed, or you're feeling depressed, that's a terrible feeling, I'm sorry for you. But he was saying it as like, I want your depression. And I was just shocked by this. And I was talking to another friend of mine who was like been in this realm of poetry, and he was explaining how in their culture they felt that there was a requirement of depression to get the best work out.
Interesting.
Where like if you wanted to write very well on the topic of love and heartbreak, you had to go through that low point. So he's saying he was saying that I want that low point. I want that feeling, because that's when truly the creativity comes out, truly the honesty comes out. But instead of being a baseline of like, every day to day and there's nothing going on, he's like, there's no creativity there. There's nothing special there. So yeah, like so poetry was just like a huge part of my personal healing. Just listening to poets, listening to people reflect on poetry, like just short couplets that just broke your heart, just like a couple lines, and it's just like, that's it. That's all I needed. That allowed me, I think, to physically relieve that suffering, was to release and to cry, but to also understand that other people have gone through this. Other people have been in those low points. They understand where I'm coming from, and I think that readers would feel that way about this work, that they can relate to you. They would find a friend in you. And you begin the intro like that, which is beautiful. That was so wise of you to do so. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel touched by what you just said about poets. Like, I remember reading, I came across somewhere, I couldn't remember now, but it was saying something about the work of poets. Like, sometimes it's like a touch of grace when like we get to speak the unspoken words of somebody and awake something or remind somebody something that they may not have known existed in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when you mention about like talent in poetry, I beg to differ. I would challenge you on that, and you never know, and really it's about when we actually get to express our deep truths. Mm-hmm. We don't know actually who this voice will actually meet or beckon to another.
I'll tell you, do not underestimate my lack of talent.
No.
Okay, you'll be surprised.
Okay.
Like, I think today I've met the most untalented individual, the most uncreative individual ever. But no, that's what I was thinking. Like, I've had a couple of friends tell me, like, hey, you should maybe consider writing. I was like, no. I'm like, it's been done. These great work has already been achieved, and it's waiting on the shoulders of future, talented individuals to write. And I'm here to appreciate. That's all I want to do. I want to appreciate individuals and their talents, and and the creativity that they bring to the world, and the love and the care and courage they bring to the world. I'm not here to also put myself in line, not at all. I'm here to appreciate. That's it. So tell me about I'll say becoming. You talked about becoming, right?
The what?
How do you feel about becoming?
Yeah, that's a very interesting word to me.
Mm-hmm.
It continues to morph and change shape, and like I keep having new relationships and new thoughts around the word becoming.
Mm-hmm.
Like where I am now with this word, it's a very endless process. There is being, and then there is becoming. It's like when the future calls out to me as I'm present, and I allow what's here to flow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, something becomes. There is a becoming of myself or me or whatever this entity is in the next moment that might be different.
Right.
Yeah. So when we are actually present, we are less held or hindered by our historical patterns. When we meet the moment afresh and let a fresh response comes out, it's like it is a form of becoming.
Yeah.
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 So that's like, it's almost like a process. It's like I'm becoming. Oh, now I'm being the present
Yeah.
location and then becoming again. Yeah. So it's
But
almost
how
like that.
do you become?
How do I become?
How do you become?
Good question. We often ask that, right? The how question.
Yeah.
I would
Everything,
actually-
the internet is full of how-tos.
My favorite question is actually what is?
What is? My favorite
What?
question is probably why.
Ah, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like what is becoming. When we
Yeah.
know what is it that is becoming, we start to see, oh, like it reveals more about, let's say, the question, okay, if it's like how do we become? We study what is becoming first. When we know what is becoming, then we might feel like, in my case, for example, the what, if let's say I see myself as a very dynamic, I'm going to use the word fabric,
Okay.
or like a glass of clear water, for example. And then experiences come, different day, the water is like painted with different colors mixed with different inks, and then it changes again. So how do I become? I stay as much open and present in being the clear water. And of course, some days experiences get stuck. So some days I get really triggered, I can't get out of it. My water stays like maybe deep blue and it just doesn't change, doesn't get to be processed or digested. And then I wait, I sit with myself, I inquire, I practice and I write, and then it starts to, the clarity comes through, becomes clear again, and then that becoming process continues again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for myself, I spend so much time waiting, right? Waiting, that now I find myself having to constantly do, right? Where like however I want to do, whatever I want to do, however like whatever I want to achieve, I have to just be working towards that. And it's not like something material, like it's not some like more money or whatever. It's not none of that. It's more like I heard this quote, and it was like right around the it was around the time that I was going through this massive heartbreak and this revolution in my life, where I heard this quote of like you have to become the hero of your own story, and that if you were writing your story of your life right now, how would you write it? What would you be doing, right? Now, would I be sitting here dwelling? Would I be sitting here suffering? Would I be sitting here just waiting for life to change itself? Or would the hero of my story be doing this or doing that, right? And so I thought about that from a physical standpoint, from an emotional standpoint. Saying like, I would be courageous, I would be confident, I would be moving forward, I would be positively impacting the world around me, the people around me. And I was just thinking like I have to do that. That's what I have to do. If the me was, if the hero of my own story was more in shape or fitter, then he has to do that, right? If he was going to eat healthier, he was going to do that. If he was going to be emotionally intelligent, then he has to do that. If he was going to be caring or be a good father or be a good partner, he has to be that. So. And that was my mindset shift. So I think now I'm just constantly doing. I'm constantly reading or learning something or sharing with something or meeting with somebody or so. I don't want to wait. Not that I'm impatient or not that I am living this life of like I'm afraid to sit and reflect. I sit and reflect every night. I sit and reflect every day. Multiple times a day I'm sitting and reflecting, but I find myself constantly looking to work, to do something positive. Yeah, my water is constantly changing colors. Yeah, but hopefully in a good way. but I've seen the change though. I've seen a positive change in my life from that mindset shift. And so I think I'll probably continue with that. Yeah. So I think being is, because one thing I also hate is people who complain, right? Because I think we have a society of complainers. We have a society of like Yelp reviewers and like Google reviewers and commenting on YouTube videos or commenting on videos, constantly complaining about things, but not a lot of doers. You know, and that's something I can't stand it when I have a friend that's like looking to complain, or brings me the same complaint 3 times or 4 times. I won't even entertain the conversation. I would say that you either make a change or don't talk to me about this. Because I think you have to get started on being. You know, you have to be trying to be whatever you want to achieve, right? Without having regrets. I'll conclude with this final story. I had not a mentor, but I was a friend, you know, like older friend, going through like high school and college, and he told me a story of how, you know, a story of a boy and a teacher, and the boy's graduating school, and the teacher says, "Let me take you somewhere special to like learn," right? So the student accepts, and the teacher takes him to a graveyard, and he says, "Here lies dreams and billion-dollar ideas, and you know, like all kinds of things that should have been achieved, that could have been achieved, right? But they all lie here because these individuals did not take those steps." And he was telling the student that you have to take your steps. You have to take steps in the journey of life towards whatever direction you want to be. And that really hit home for me as well, that I've got to be taking steps on being.
Thank you, Edris. I'm very touched by the flame of your heart that I'm feeling. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of strength in your heart that's powering, and I feel your capacity is answering that call. I feel this movement when I hear you. It's like a self-generator or dynamo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the right word for it now.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Like generating energy?
Self-generating.
Self-generating. I hope so. I hope I'm generating hopefully some kind of positivity in this world. But yeah, you know, I think, I think it's because, like, I went through such a time period of suffering and pain, and you know, and I before I used to think, why me, why this happens, but then I later on hit a stage of why not, you know, why not, like why not me, you know, and I absolutely would not be where I am in life now if it wasn't for that. You know, I wouldn't be this, I would say, empathetic or courageous or caring if it wasn't for those moments. You know, and I think it's absolutely required. And if you don't go through it, you know. Now I was talking to a friend of mine, and like she's a divorced, you know, single mother, and she was talking to me about, you know, going through the stages of, you know, how come I'm not living a happy marriage, you know, right now, and I don't have this individual, and, you know, and the white picket fence, and a nice home, and the dog, and all that, right? And I you know, changed the mindset of, and I told her that, well, you wouldn't be who you are today, which is like this confident, courageous, caring individual. Like, you wouldn't be this individual if it wasn't for that. I'm like, look at these people who haven't been through this. You know, you talk to people who, like, they'll read your book and it wouldn't even, nothing would hit. You know, it wouldn't matter, right? You're like, why'd you write it? Why don't you just get a therapist, or you know what I mean, or whatever, right? And it's because they haven't been through it. You know, so you don't get to be special without going through such challenges. You know, because you go, if you meet the people that haven't gone through this, like they have the nice home and the dog and the kids and a nice job and a nice career and you know, making good money, like, go talk to them. They're extremely basic as individuals. You know, like, nothing really unique about them, but you get to be that because of the life challenges, and also your life challenges, but also your understanding of those challenges and where you are right now.
What you're inspiring in me, it's also this thought about how when we actually get to feel our deepest longing, our true desire, and stay connected with that, it becomes like our North Star. That true desire calls forth the becoming. So we become whoever we actually need. And when we are unconscious with what are the desires we are serving, we may go really far from ourselves, but when we are conscious, it's very aligned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also what I'm feeling as you're sharing that. Yeah, and I'm circling back to that one where you say, the poet would say, I want your depression. There's something beautiful actually about depression. And of course, it's when you're in it, it's like, I wouldn't say that.
I encourage it.
But something about depression, if let's say we just hold the space and let all the labels or what society has put on it drop aside for a moment, it's a state of that feels like an empty hole or abyss. But when we actually get to feel like it's also a stopgap measure, in a sense that something in us is saying stop.
Right.
We can't go forth. But when we can sit with it, you know, that emptiness is trying to draw forth new life, new expression from us. So yeah, that's what's coming up. So thank you.
Yeah. So when it comes to the book, were there other books or poets that influenced you?
I would say when I was in the couple of years that I was working on this, some of my favorite ones that I refer to were Mary Oliver, Rilke, Henry Thoreau, a bit of Emerson, David White too. Yeah, there's something about finding the spiritual or the divine in nature and connecting with what's larger. So I don't really have like a religion per se, but I do have the belief that there is something larger. And I tend to go to like the nature, the parks, all this for that connection.
Yeah. I think there's definitely something important to knowing that you are connected to probably something larger, and also that you can have an impact that's something larger than you're within your own little small circle. There's something larger there. So besides the book, what else is going on? Do you have services that you offer, or please tell me about that.
Yeah, so other than writing, I'm also a life coach. I call myself a soul worker. So why soul? Yeah, so it's like a body worker, you know, when they massage and then they unlock your tensions in your physical body. For me, my work when I sit with my client, through understanding, inquiry, and really sitting and feeling and being with, I help unlock the tensions in our soul, because there are patterns area and it affects us in not being able to access certain qualities, for example, and we stay stuck. So that is like unlocking the tension patterns within the soul so that we can be freer from the weight of our history. We can live more, I call it like fresher lives with possibility, that we get to actually be present and choose, have a conscious choice and autonomy in moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who are the ideal individuals that should be contacting you?
Thank you. I would say people who are feeling maybe lost or weary, in search for like what's the point in their life, or even looking to, explore a little bit more like of the question of what and who am I? Am I just this like mortal body for human existence? Is there more? Like let the curiosity guide your way. I would love to explore together, like, oh, okay, so let's see, like, who is it that's sitting before me right now?
I will warn you that there are some people, there's nothing more to them.
That didn't?
There's nothing more to them. What you see is what you get. There's no deeper level to them. There's no fixing.
Oh, I would not use the word fixing, because my belief is we're not broken. If there's anything that needs to be repaired, it's more like reconnecting with the self.
Yeah. So what's next? Is there another book coming? Is there a volume 2 coming?
I am working on volume 2. It's taking the time it needs. I'm also hoping to, I already have like a draft already. I'm looking into a poetic picture book. So,
really?
Yeah.
Would you do it yourself, or
I probably may not have the skills to draw, so
I have no skills.
I'm talented.
Yeah. I can't write. I can't help in any part of the book. Interesting. Yeah. I think it would be nice to see a picture with the words, like maybe from your perspective of the words you're putting on paper, what you are imagining. I think that could be something very interesting. With a great title. This is a very nice title, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but I love a beautiful title. There's something about a title that's just like, if you read a book or you find a book that has an amazing title, it just captures you. That's how I feel.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, the closer that the title is basically poetry, that's the goal. That's like what I'm looking for. I think it was this famous writer. His name was he wrote Kite Runner, a really famous book, and he his next book was supposed to be titled Dreaming in Titanic City, and I always thought about that title. He didn't write it. He did 1,000 Splendid Suns. I think that's the second book, but I always thought about that title, Dreaming in Titanic City, and I think that was probably my first thought on the significance of words when it comes to, from a poetic standpoint, of like, what it inspired when it came to thought and imagination, So yeah, I love a great title. So you have to have a great title for the book.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry, you can pitch them to me and I'll let you know my thoughts.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
I'll let you have my beta read on my title. Like, Edris, what do you think about this title?
Oh, that's terrible. Probably the worst idea so far. Okay, so how do people connect, follow, and support you?
I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
Voices of Yun, YUN. And I have a weekly newsletter called the Dandelion Notes on Substack. And
Substack.
Yeah. I like to write a little longer for that, so I found that maybe Substack might serve. And also my website, the spacetobe.co. Yeah. So you can find me on any of this.
Okay. Yeah. So follow her, support her, buy the book. The book is at Kensington Book Row?
Yes, it's at Kensington Bookshop.
Bookshop, yeah.
Wonderland Books as well, and of course on Amazon if, let's say, they are not in town.
They're not in town, yeah. But if you're in town, buy local.
Yes.
Absolutely. But thank you for coming out, taking the time, and I hope that we can do this again soon. I love the reflection with you. I enjoy it.
Thank you, Edris.
All right, thank you.
I really enjoy our conversation.
Always, always. Thank you. Okay, I think we're good. All right.